man, okay. I can't even be mad. Cannot even be mad. Right? Like, we can't be too upset at how that game went. Actually, we can be upset at how the game went. We can't be too upset as to how the game ended. The last few minutes of game time between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals in Game 1 of their Eastern Conference quarter-final series was really great. But for the most part, the Montreal Canadiens losing 3-2 in overtime to the Great Eight, Alexander Ovechkin's three-point night and overtime winner. This game can be seen as more so of a wake-up call than anything. I predicted on my ESPN bracket that the Canadiens would lose to Washington in 5 games. I am a secondary Montreal Canadiens fan. They're my favorite team in this playoff run. So I, of course, would love to see the Habs win some games, win some rounds, win the Cup. Ooh, the Stanley Cup. Is it possible? I don't know. But I'm the biggest Habs fan out there, at least on this side of the country, and I said that they'd probably lose 4-1. That's not a big deal. It's not anything against the Habs. In fact, a lot of y'all said, yeah, I mean, it's good that they made the playoffs. That's the win. Qualifying for the playoffs in the tight race that they had, that in itself is the win. But man, they were close. They were so close to the win in this one, and they probably shouldn't have been, all things considered. I'll say this, the Washington Capitals beat Montreal 3-2 in overtime in Game 1, but they probably should have won the game a lot earlier. The Montreal Canadiens were, for the most part, sloppy, a little bit slow, and they just were not ready to play in the same way that Washington was ready at the start of this series. Now, a lot of that has to do with just the overwhelming nature that we had talked about. Earlier this afternoon, we spoke about Arber Xhekaj's absence from the Canadiens lineup. Is that going to bite St. Louis in the behind? Do you need the sheriff out there? Do you need the big tough guy to dictate play and make sure that your ops don't go out there and start plummeting your guys? And for the most part, I feel like Arber Xhekaj's presence was kind of missed in this game. Washington really took it to Montreal in this one, and it came in the form of cross-checks to Brendan Gallagher's face, it came in the form of big hits along the boards, it came in the form of Cole Caufield second-guessing the clearing attempt and just getting totally steamrolled by Alexander Ovechkin. Not that Ovechkin has like 9 inches and 50-60 pounds on Cole Caufield, but what a big booming hit. He really brings the boom in there. But Montreal was on the ropes for a good chunk of this game, and Samuel Montembeault was forced to make so many nice stops, big saves out in front. The Capitals as well were controlling a lot of the play, mostly due to Montreal's own doing. In the first and second period, first period especially, I thought the Canadiens were just so sloppy. Lane Hudson couldn't take a pass. The guys were overskating the puck like crazy. They couldn't handle it in tight. They were just kind of bobbling it around. It was so discomforting to watch because we know what this Canadiens team looks like when they're on. I don't know if they had gotten rattled by the atmosphere at Capital One Arena, or if they were just letting the jitters of the playoffs get to them, and whether or not the Capitals and their own physical play was taking a toll on the Canadiens, having them second-guess their puck movements. But ultimately, the Habs did not play well in the first few segments here, despite the fact that they might have had a few grade A opportunities. Shots off the post, 2-on-1s, etc., etc. They had those. But you can say the same thing about the Capitals. It's just in the Capitals world, Montembeault had to make some really good saves. I do feel like the Canadiens did not test Logan Thompson as much as they could have on some of those shots that they had that went off the post, etc., etc. But ultimately, the first goal of the game, scored in the first period, Washington, it's Alex Ovechkin. And guess what? It is literally the exact same play which netted Ovechkin his 895th NHL regular season goal to beat the Gretzky record. Long pass back over to the left point where Ovi is there. He drags it, he shoots it, and he beats Samuel Montembeault 1-0 Washington. And I saw that goal go in, and I was like, yeah, I can't even be mad. Like, that's on the power play. It's that patented Ovi wrist shot. You can't really stop that. It's quite difficult to. In the second period, Alex Ovechkin gets himself an assist, and the goal scorer is none other than my guy, Anthony Beauvillier. Yeah, that's right, Anthony Beauvillier getting involved here. He drives to the goal, puck gets shot behind the net, it's kept in, and then Ovechkin eventually centers it towards the goal there, and Beauvillier on the rebound is able to pot it by Montembeault. A really nice setup from the Great Eight, and Beauvillier makes it 2-0. At the end of the second period, I was already saying, like, yeah, this is just not really going Montreal's way. Nothing really feels like it probably should be going their way. They did have some chances, but it's just like, yeah, they're not playing as well as they could. And they didn't look like the better team at all in the first and second periods. But then the third started coming along. And this is where we saw Montreal really take control. Because after the Capitals got even more chances, Samuel Montembeault, thank you goodness for bailing out the Canadiens, right around the halfway mark of the third is when the Canadiens started to turn it on. And on the power play, big man advantage situation here, it's Cole Caufield who ends up tying the game off of some brilliant Montreal pressure. Nick Suzuki, keeping the puck on and not losing possession on the half boards, plays it back to Lane Hudson. He throws it over to Laine, the one-timer, the shot, the rebound. It goes off of a Washington player in front, loose puck, and Cole Caufield pounces on it to bring the lead within one at the halfway mark of this third period. Just 5 minutes later, Montreal, after getting a good surge of momentum, end up having the puck in the Washington zone. It's centered out. Logan Thompson is down. Slafkovsky trying to bat at it. Loose puck. Caufield goes back over to the point. Carrier, the shot, the rebound. It's down and out. Thompson overcommits on the rebound. Suzuki walks out. He shoots and he scores. With 4:15 to go, the Montreal Canadiens tie this game 2-2. And all the talking points that we were going to bring up in this game, all the things about the penalties, the lack of calls, oh, no call on Brendan Gallagher getting cross-checked, oh, no call on Josh Anderson tripping up John Carlson, all that goes out the window because now everybody's talking about the gosh darn Canadiens battling back and potentially winning this game. Montreal had so many more opportunities in the third period to try to seal the deal, but the game goes to overtime, and Washington eventually gets it back. It's Alex Ovechkin with his second goal of the game who ends up winning it in overtime. And the primary assist is Anthony Beauvillier, whose shot goes off the end boards. Beauvillier picks up the rebound and centers it out for Ovi, who buries it, makes it 3-2 Washington. And just like that, the Capitals have a 1-0 series over the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I will say this about this game. There wasn't really much that I can say was fantastic, aside from maybe certain stints in the third period. I was not really impressed with Ivan Demidov. He didn't play much as well. He only had 11 minutes in this game. You can tell that Marty St. Louis was trying to ease him in a little bit. There were some nice plays that he made, but I wasn't too impressed. You can tell that the Canadiens were getting a little bit pushed around, especially in the first two periods. So who knows if Arber Xhekaj ends up returning to the lineup and that sort of physical presence gets addressed in game number 2. But all I'm saying here is, hey, the Habs and their comebackableness in this season, it's carried over to the playoffs. I'm just kind of wondering, what's it going to be like when Montreal plays off in Game 3 and 4 at the Bell Center? They already provided a big show here today in Washington, so maybe 4-1, my prediction was a little bit harsh. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Montreal Canadiens almost coming back in game number 1 against the Washington Capitals, but Alex Ovechkin spoiling it and winning the game, giving Washington that 1-0 series lead. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.